modern farms are in a way like modern households. You have an input and you have an output. And by that I mean that the input consists of food, materials, stuff like that going in. And on the other hand you have waste, products, garbage, stuff like that going out. But the good old farms didn't used to be like that. You had very little in and very little out. Most things were kept in the farm in different kind of loop systems. And today I'm going to show you how some of these systems work on our farm. So earlier this year we were digging out the riverbed, and the reason is that the river becomes a bottleneck when we have heavy rains. And that left us with all these rocks. Now they are not doing any good here, but I do have some use for them. So we have gathered all the stones that we collected from the riverbed, but we do need some more. But luckily I stumbled over a new pile of rocks. Now these are not that easy to see as they are covered with moss, but there are actually quite a few here. So it's not uncommon to find piles of rocks like this lying around. And the reason for that is that the area behind me is kind of flat. And the western side of Norway, where we live, is not known for the flat areas. The deep fjords and the high mountains are actually a tourist attraction here. And so when you first had a flat area on your farm, you would use it. And that flat area was usually full of rocks. So if you're going to use the flat area to grow vegetables, hay, whatever, you needed to pick the rocks. And you put them in piles where they were not in the way. So this is good news for us because we need rocks. And so let's get these on the tractor. These rocks used to be part of a problem when they were lying in the riverbed causing floodings, but now they are part of a solution to a problem that we had, the lack of parking spaces for our vehicles. So we could of course just paid somebody to come with a truck and deliver these rocks. It would be quicker, easier, we could have had them a long time ago, we wouldn't need to do the other job first, but it would also be more expensive and not sustainable at all. Now this is actually the normal way today, but it didn't used to be on an old farm. You always have multiple projects, and the waste material from one project would always be used on another. So this chicken house now is filled with chicken poop, and in here that is a problem, so we need to clear it out. So the minute the chicken poo comes out here, it goes from being a problem to becoming a resource. So chicken poo is actually such a powerful fertilizer that you can buy it in most gardening centers, although they have rebranded it a bit into chicken fertilizer. So although our goal is to be as self-sufficient as possible, we do have some gaps on our farm. And one of them is wood chips. We don't have any means to produce them ourselves. So we have been buying them, but lately it's been impossible to get a hold of them. and so we ended up using wooden pallets instead. So this is something that I really don't like, and I'm not talking about the plastic wrapper. I'm talking about having to buy this to take off all of this plastic and just throw it in the garbage. It feels wasteful. Now we have been thinking about two possible solutions to this. One of them is to buy a wood chipper to put on the tractor. We could use that when we made firewood. We could put in the branches and make wood chips from them. The other possible solution is the sawmill. That would produce a lot of wood chips, but it is a bit further down the line probably, so we will see. So in the last video we made some flower beds, and we have still not finished filling the last flower bed up with dirt. And the plants that's going in there are starting to get really big, so that's the next thing we're going to do. Of course we could just have bought a lot of dirt and put in it, but we're going to use the same principle. Now behind me here we are doing the groundworks for a carport for the big tractor, and I'm going to level this entire area, and so I need to get rid of all the dirt. And that's a good thing, because we need dirt. I could have made it really easy for myself and just used the digger on the tractor and put it right into the flower beds. But this dirt is full of rocks, and I don't want the flower beds to be full of rocks. But we also need the rocks. Of course that means that this job will take a lot longer than if I just bought the dirt or paid somebody to collect this, or just bought a truck full of rocks. But it would not have been sustainable. Now to use all the resources from the farm on the farm, that is sustainable. So this is what we're going to do. Now since this bed is actually up against the house wall, we are doing something different. First we are using a drainage sheet against the house wall. Now I will cut this to length once we have the dirt in. And the second thing that we are going to do is to add a layer of these in the bottom of the bed, and that is to drain away all excess water. So today we have filled the flower bed with dirt that we needed to get rid of. We have made a parking lot with stones that we segregated from that dirt and with stones that we took out of the river. And we have made fertilizer by cleaning out the chicken house. And that fertilizer we can use both in our flower beds and in the vegetable garden. So we have taken problems and waste products and made them into a resource that we really needed, all without leaving the farm. So our goal for this farm is to make it into its own ecosystem by adding more and more systems like this, so that we can provide for ourselves what we need. Now we are not completely there yet, as you saw today. For instance, these materials we needed to buy. I would like to make them ourselves because we do own a forest, but we don't have the sawmill yet. Once we do, we can source our own material, and the waste product from that would be wood chips for our chickens. But that is anyway further down the line. So having all of these systems and adding new ones gives us a really good feeling, because it increases our sustainability and our self-sufficiency. And in these troubled times, who wouldn't want that? Now, we are not looking to do any doomsday prepping, for those that are wondering about that. But in this time and age, things are a bit unstable, and who wouldn't want some extra security? Everybody just takes for granted that you can always go to the shop and get what you want. But I think many people got a wake-up call. So anyway, this is all that we have for you, and if you want to see another flower video, take a look at this one next. I will be seeing you on the next video. Bye for now.